Do we need to clean the camera?
We have come to the end of the first day of questioning of HN58, the former Detective Chief Inspector of the Special Demonstration Squad from 1998 till 2001. In a very layered final hour of the questioning today, David Barr KC took HN58 through a series of documents that showed unquestionably that he was fully aware of the sexual relationships that both Mark Jenner and Jim Boyling were engaged in. It involved cohabiting with Rosa and Alison, respectively. Particularly in the case of Jim Boyling and Rosa, he was absolutely nailed, quite frankly, by it. It took him a while, and he did it in an understated way, but at the end, John Mitting, the chair of the inquiry, came back to it and just underlined that HN58 had admitted that by December 2000, he was fully aware of the sexual relationship that had existed between Jim Boyling and Rosa. He said that that he didn't think it mattered, that he was more concerned about the intelligence work that Jim Boyling had done during his career that had led him to write the recommendation for commendation in the days afterwards. He admitted that the application for the phone records of Rosa was fraudulently applied for, simply because doing it honestly wouldn't have worked. He claimed that he didn't bear responsibility for that because he couldn't remember how much of it he knew. It was a devastating set of questioning. I'm joined, as ever, by members of the Undercover Research Group. What did you make of how it went?
Even though we couldn't see, we could only hear behind, you could feel the tension through multiple layers of screens. It just got... It was just like this slow tick of a watch mechanism. As David Barr just went, and you could hear his answers slowly getting weaker. His voice was dropping to like, please, I'm scared. And you had to be asked to speak up, and you came from, oh, I don't remember, probably, maybe, yes, whatever. And then eventually, it looks like that. Yeah, I was like, even I, Detective Chief Inspector, can't deny the reality in front of me. And at the end, it just caved. And he caved there. He tried, I can see that point or something like that. Then Mitting just really came in at the very end and just put the final nail in the coffin. It was excruciatingly painful to listen to because you could see the train crash from at least an hour ahead. And fair play to Barr for just laying it out so well, so meticulously, and leaving him absolutely no room whatsoever to maneuver at the end. That he got, David Barr pinned him to the wall. He has to now admit that he knew about sexual relationships, and the ramifications of that are huge.
Yeah, I mean, it's a full 18 months before the end of his time as a DCI on the unit. He says he didn't tell Mike Dell about it because he didn't think it was relevant by the time he handed over. But that's 18 months where he was fully aware and was doing nothing about it. I mean,
at the time of when you got James Thompson,
right? Exactly.
You got Christine Green.
Yep.
You've got a litany of it.
I mean, just on the way that Barr did it, one of the things he did is he showed an email that came from Rosa to Boyling. He initially asked HN58, have you seen this email? He said, oh, no, I've never seen it before. He takes him through it and he goes, well, it says that, but I've never read that. I've never seen it. And as soon as he passionately defended the fact that he never read it, and then he brought up the resume of the email that was prepared within the office that was shown to HN58 that showed he blatantly knew. And we just got more document layer upon document layer upon document, so that the passion that he had defended himself with just like disappeared. I mean, it was incredibly well done.
Well timed, because it came right at the very end of the day.
Yeah,
he's just taken them through. You can hear the exhaustion in both of them, but it's like, no, you are going to be nailed. I am going to put this coffin together.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that Barr has made a habit of, is trying to like kind of crescendo at the ending of his day. I remember a few years ago, you saying to me, it's not meant to be entertainment. But I must, I really feel it was audio only, but it was entertainment this afternoon.
This today was definitely after what we've had a painful few weeks of appalling lies, all of which have been totally undermined as of today in a beautiful way. This was just like, this is a masterclass. I think this is one of the sets of questioning that we will come back to as that was just art in action.
I was just thinking about, like, you start to imagine what he would look like, especially when his voice is going down, he's getting all meek, and you think he's a little boy that puts himself in the corner before even the teacher told him to. And then I was thinking about, like, after we had the afternoon break, like, why has he been given so much anonymity? So I looked up his application for anonymity, and it says that the main reason is that he never told, he did tell his wife, but he never told his children, who are supposedly grown up now, of his past with the SDS and the spy cops. So I can imagine that there is a lot of shame now, like he doesn't want his environment, his close family and his friends to know. Having said that, he's also been an undercover. We don't know when, and we don't know in which group. So it might be that he is a closed officer because he was maybe in the extreme right. We just don't know. But what we do know is that most of the undercovers have sort of, like exaggerated the danger they were in, and the fear of violent attacks when it would come out who they were and where they lived. Nothing has ever happened. But Mitting, or that was Pitchford before him, the former chair who died meanwhile. They've been handing out anonymity, and it's like there's so much more you can see if you see the body language, and it's so weird to stare at a white wall just because someone hasn't told his children. It's like, they have been deceiving so many people and invaded the privacy of so many people and caused harm with the relationships, or he was responsible for it. And now his children can't know what his job has been. There's such an unbalance there.
I'm going to put money on the fact that he probably had a relationship himself. This is why he's so desperate to keep his anonymity. The way he answered, the way he didn't have to ask questions, is because he was already in on the secret. He already knew, and he knew because he knew about all the previous ones. And the chances are he probably did it. He was engaging in himself. We'll never know the truth because it's all been covered up. But I would put money on that.
Just going to the I think that the application for the billing records of the phone calls from Rosa, I think that was really significant. It was the document which from January 2001, which applies for her phone records, does so on the basis that she is an active member of Reclaim the Streets, connected to groups of violent activists who are preparing for serious criminal damage, and that the information used will simply be used to identify where that criminal damage will take place, and the rest of the information will be ignored. He was very clear that was an entirely fraudulent application, entirely fraudulent. At one point, he started to try and justify some elements of it as being true, but he backtracked immediately when Barr pointed out, said to him, "Are you really trying to suggest that some of it's true?" That alone shows a unit that is acting entirely illegally, has no respect for the law whatsoever. I mean, we've seen it already with the way they encourage their officers to lie to court and so on. But this application particularly was a really stark example of the way that the unit operated when it came to legislative oversight.
And I think there's a comment as well that's picked up on this. Is like that sort of application is way outside the norm. That required warrants, that required going up the chain. So it was them taking outside of their normal chain of command. And that meant it had to go through him. That was an unusual thing to do. So and the idea that he didn't interrogate You suddenly had this. Well, where is this intelligence that Rosa was what they claimed? They couldn't produce it. It was never existing. They needed him in on that in order to get it, and it's his credibility on the line. It's like he signed off. I think you're right. That was the moment he realized that the game was up on that. He couldn't get around that. But also, this is the level of intrusion that they were prepared to go back into people's lives to protect themselves. Is quite a chilling Stasi. It's like it's just really, so much of their defense so far has been a defense of we didn't know, it was indifference, complacency, laziness. This is something proactive in their abuse.
Yeah, it was quite a surprising end of this day, which we had hours and hours of can't recall, don't remember, no, can't recall, can't remember, and David Barr's just like you said, so good at sort of building up his questioning and then going full blown in.
Just to read the comments we've had here. I found the false communications application for surveillance on Rosa utterly shocking. They not only moved the office, but sought to further surveil the woman who was deceived. Yeah, I think this is one of the most significant parts of what we've learned today. Another comment, it also suggests they're trying to hide the wrongdoing from other parts of the Met. Absolutely. I mean, what it shows is that the guardrails that exist around like on civil liberties, on people's right to privacy of any sort, were being actively, cynically manipulated by this unit.
I would not the rest of the Met off. So sure. It would have been other parts of special branch doing it. And look who's the commander at the time. It's Mr. Roger Pierce, who actually went on TV to justify relationships. He would have been quite happily signing that off if whether you knew the full truth, none of the truth, it wouldn't matter to him.
I mean, it should be remarked that the HN58's actual defense was that, we were worried that, look, because she had the phone number of Jim Boyling, she may have had the phone number of other undercover officers, and we were just checking to see if she had that or not, which is obviously completely false and nonsense, something he made up on the spot as to try and defend it. What they were looking to see what she was doing in terms of trying to contact people who may have on the trail of Jim Boyling. We saw it with the way in which Bob Lambert was brought in, despite the fact he left the unit at this stage, because he had the experience of what John Dines had to do in order to avoid being tracked by Helen Steele, and the parallels, the blatant parallels that existed between that situation and the one between Jim Boyling and Rosa. Also the fact that Rosa knew Helen Steele, and there was a great danger that she was going to put heads together with Steele, which is exactly what happened.
And I also wonder how much were they going to actually monitor her and Rose and Helen's phone calls. Was that all part of it? I think there's a load more, we're seeing what was committed to paper. Yes. There's a lot more that they're not telling us about.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. There's another comment there from Mr. Abney. I wasn't suggesting the rest of the Met were totally ignorant. No, I don't. I'm sure you weren't. Though, it should be pointed out that had they made an honest application, it would have failed. Which is why they didn't do an honest one.
And he accepted that.
Yeah, 100%.
And this was like, you are a DCI, you're not top rank, but you are pretty senior. You've done the courses. You've gone to Bramshill or Hendon or wherever it is. You sit and you've read up on the law. You're supposed to be a trained special branch officer who's probably done this 1,000 times before. You're playing the game. You're abusing the system. It is corruption. There's no other way to say it. You're corrupted. Had that actually been taken to a disciplinary at the time, he would have been out on his ear.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks to everybody who's liked and shared these videos. It really helps. We've got 2 more days of HN58. There's a lot more to go through. Any thoughts about other things he's going to be questioned about?
I wouldn't want to be 53 right now because he seems prepared to really throw him under the bus.
Oh, very much.
Yeah. And also, I think this last hour today has completely changed the perspective of the next 2 days. Like, we were really looking at, my God, is that going to be very boring? I don't know. I can't recall for 2 more days. But this final hour has like really opened up other possibilities and other ways of questioning that we hope David Barr will follow.
Yeah, lots more to hear. We're back again tomorrow, 10 a.m. Anything else either of you'd like to add?
Oh, expect a rollback tomorrow morning. And it's going to be done badly, but I expect it to come.
Yeah. We often see a change in demeanour from the witnesses the following day once they've had a chance to reflect and possibly have a chat with their old colleagues. We'll see if that's been the case with this. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow. Another full 2 days of HN58 to look forward to.